Okay, everyone, I'm going to try and demonstrate to you how to do Project 4 and introduce Adobe to you all. Now, I'm currently at home and I'm just going to walk you through the basics for Adobe Audition. Now, first thing, you want to make sure you always have a flash drive to save everything on. This is the time of the year where you will be having a flash drive to save your projects on. So for project 4, 5, 6, and 7, you need your flash drive to save your projects from the computers and the production stations. So the screen you see right now is a basic form of Adobe Audition when you open it up in the production stations in the classroom. Now, to start a audio file, you simply go to File. Those of you go to File, New Audio File. Now, this screen here, the screen you see here, you're gonna want to name it. Those of you can't really see, let me turn that down for you. The brightness there. So you want to have to name the file. So it says new audio file, the file name. I'm going to name it Practice Project 4. And you're always going to want it to be the sample rate in 44.1 hertz and monotone at 16 bits. So as you can see, I have it here. 44.1. It's going to be in mono and 16 bit. And then you hit OK. So now we are ready to record. Now, the first part of this project, Project 4, as you know, it's an Eastern Airlines address. Script, it is 60 seconds, so a minute. The first thing you're going to do is provide 2 different royalty-free music selections. Now, they must be royalty-free, and you're going to want the beginning of the first instrumental, so the first 35 to 40 seconds, and for the second music piece, you're going to want the last 30 seconds of that music bed. So you should have an outro music bed for the second piece and an intro music bed for the first piece. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to File, Open, so now I have my very first instrumental that I'm gonna use for this project. Now you're gonna have to record in a music bed for the second piece. But for this purpose, I'm going to simply add my second music bed for my flash drive for my files that I received from a royalty-free music bed website called bensound.com. So if you go to bensound.com, you'll be able to have some music beds for your Project 4. So now I have an intro music bed and an outro music bed, and I'm gonna have to narrow it down to get the right amount of seconds for the complete project, to complete Project 4. I'm going to convert this one to mono. And right here, you see where it says adjust amplitude? I'm going to bring the levels down. So as you can see, the levels are just above -12 there, which is where, you know, on average you want your levels to be. So now, I'm going to go to File, New, Audio File, and I'm going to name this piece right here, Practice Project 4, Part 2. And again, 44/100 mono 16-bit. Hit OK. Now the reason why that's part 2 is because there's going to be 2 parts for your project 4. And I'm going to simply record in the first part of project 4, on the first part of the script. Now, I'm going to record that part in. All right, so I got my levels there. As you can see, I bring the mic a little closer. So, you simply, this red dot here is to record. And I'm going to start recording in the script. For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich, brass, confident, a brawler that just opened the finest opera house in the Southwest, that calls itself one of the world's fashion centers and is. Houston, it's hard cash, enchiladas in the Mexican Quarter, it's fast quip, a millionaire who rode before he could walk, the NASA Space Center. If ever there was a frontier, Houston is it. If ever there was a cosmopolitan city, call it Houston, but mostly call it guts. So now I have Adobe all set up with the first script. Let's listen back. I'll turn it down. Sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich, brass, confident, a brawler that just opened the finest opera house in the Southwest, that calls itself one of the world's fashion centers and is. Houston, it's hard cash, enchiladas in the Mexican Quarter, it's fast quip. Now I expect you all to have your levels around -12 on average. If ever there was a frontier, Houston is it. If ever there was a cosmopolitan city, call it Houston, but mostly call it guts. Now what's great about Adobe Audition is that you can go in, and if you make a mistake, like you guys noticed, I made a mistake when I was reading off the script. A millionaire who rode before he could walk, the NASA Space Center. If ever there was... Oh, so there it is. There's a slight stutter. So simply doing this, to space it out, you simply go up the top here and drag to the left to bring it closer together, to bring it tighter, and also in that direction as well. So to the right, zooms it out to the right, and to the left, zooms it out to the left. And so, to highlight what I want, I simply select it here on the screen, use the mouse, click and drag to the right, and hit delete, and now, the NASA Space Center. If ever there was a frontier, Houston is it. If ever there was a cosmopolitan city, call it Houston, but mostly call it guts. So now I have the very first part of this script. Now that I've done all this work, including the very first part of the script, I have my intro music that I need to edit, and I also have my music for my outro that I will edit down to 30 seconds. And remember, the intro has to be also 30 to 35 seconds. And then I'll talk about the crossfade as well. But first, you want to make sure you save everything you've done thus far. And if you go to File, Save All, and remember to have your flash drive in. So simply go to Browse. Go to your flash drive. Save as MP3. Yes. MP3. Yep. And now everything is saved. So that's how you make sure you save all your files after you do everything you need to do for each individual part for your projects. And I'm gonna come back and demonstrate the second part of Project 4, which includes the script that you're gonna need. Well, excuse me, not the script. Well, yes, the second part of the script, and then also the jet sound for the crossfade. So make sure you watch. So now we have the first part of the script. We have both music beds. Now it's time to record in the jet sound. Now for your projects, you're gonna have a CD on each production station for Project 4 that has a jet sound effects on it. And now there's gonna have 4 different options for each individual track for the jet sound. And the jet sound basically will have 4 different options to choose from on the CD. So I'm going to record it in. Now you'll simply hit the CD channel. You'll turn the CD channel up to around -12. Make sure you're gonna record it in around -12. And now you're gonna put the CD into CD 2 or 1, whichever one you prefer, and you'll turn that channel on. And when you do so, you'll go to File, New, Audio File. I'll call this the jet sound effect. So you see here, it says jet sound effect 44100 mono 16-bit. Simply hit OK. Hit record. And that's your jet sound. So I'll turn Adobe on. You remember to turn Adobe on to listen back in Adobe Audition. So you turn the Adobe channel on the audio board. Hit record. And that's your jet sound. So I'll delete. But remember, you click and drag either left or right. I'm going to go to the left, hit delete or backspace. Now I have my jet sound. So now I'm going to go to File. I'm going to go back to Practice Project 4 Part 2. That second part of the script that you will have to read off to end the Eastern Airlines 60-second ad for your Project 4. So I'm going to hit record. Simply hit record. And record. Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going there every business day throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly. Remember to listen back. You simply turn on the Adobe channel on the audio board and press play. Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going there every business day throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly. I'll delete that dead space there. I'll delete that space in the middle. And so now I have the first part of the script, the second part of the script. I have my first music bed, my second music bed, and I now have my jet sound. Now I'm going to edit down the first music bed. So, as you can see closely, I have it around 30 seconds already. So, let's play it. Okay, so I got about 35 seconds. So everything 35 seconds pass, I'm going to highlight, drag all the way to the right, and now it's deleted. So now my intro to the first part of the music for Project 4, the first music bed, is now squared away. So now I'm going to go to the second music bed. You want to go closer to the end of the song. So remember, zoom out. You simply take the mouse, drag over. Now I'm around the last 35, 40, the last 35 seconds of this music bed. Now the reason why the music beds are a little over a minute is because of the crossfade within the entire piece, which I will demonstrate in just a moment. I'm going to take all of this part of this music bed so I can only have the outro for the music. Take a little bit more off. Excuse the messages here. So now I have roughly the last 35 seconds of this music bed. So if I drag over, it's at 39, so I can still take about 5 seconds off. So now I have it around 35 seconds. And so now I have everything I need squared away. Now you have to mix all of this together, of course. And to do that, you're gonna go to File, New multi-track session. I'm gonna label this. Now if you look closely, You see the label right here? Label practice. Project 4. 44.1, 16-bit, and it's in mono. Hit OK. Now, the very first part of the script, and I'll put it in track 1 here first. And now I'll take that first music bed and put it underneath it. So now, this yellow line, I can bring the levels down here just a little bit. For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich, brass, confident, a brawler that just opened the finest opera house in the Southwest, that calls itself one of the world's fashion centers and is. Houston, it's hard cash, enchiladas in the Mexican Quarter, it's fast quip, a millionaire who rode before he could walk, the NASA Space Center. If ever there was a frontier, Houston is it. If ever there was a cosmopolitan city, call it Houston, but mostly, call it guts. Now, on Thursday, I'll draw the diagram for you so you all can see how the crossfade will look. But for right now, what I'm going to do is, you see we're around 35 seconds now. I'm going to take the jet sound and bring it down to the third track, so track number 3. So now I have 3 tracks. I have 1 for the voice, the first voice, 1 for the music bed, and a 3rd for the jet sound. Now for fades, we're gonna work on using keyframes to adjust the fades for this project with the crossfades as well. So I'm gonna go to the first music bed. And now, remember your music's gonna be at the foreground in the beginning. So I'm gonna, these dots right here are keyframes. So there's 2 of them now. And I'm gonna bring this one up. Gonna bring this one up. And by adding each keyframe controls the fader of the music. So let's listen. For sheer brand, probably need a little more fade in that. So what I'll do is bring the music, bring your voice over to around 3 seconds. That's where I suggest you start. You want to start that music high, the foreground. So I'll bring each of these keyframes up. Now, if you feel you have too many keyframes, you can simply right-click, delete the selected keyframe. And so, for sheer brass, nothing can touch it. For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Maybe bring that in a little bit. For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich brass. I'll bring that music up just a little bit. Adjust the keyframe some more. For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich brass. Confident, a brawler that just opened the finest opera house in the Southwest that calls itself one of the world's fashion center. City, call it Houston, but mostly call it Guts. So now I'm here with the first music bed. Now I'm going to pause. So now we're at the crossfade stage. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to select some keyframes now that I've ended the first part of the script. So let's listen. Call it Guts. Remember, you're going to bring the music back up at the foreground and then bring it back down. But as you're bringing the music down, your jet sound get a few keyframes here. Your jet sound will come up. You can even zoom, you can slide over the clip by simply selecting here to the left and just dragging over. So what I'll do is I'll drag this over just a little bit. And so as that music is, fading down, your jet sound will be crossing up. Let's try to make that sound a little better. I'll take some more keyframes here and bring I think it's almost there. Let's listen. Oh, almost. All right. So we're gonna bring some more keyframes up for that fade to really be, with that crossfade to really be there, to really be crisp. And now when that second jet well, not the second jet, but the second music should come in as that jet sound is fading down. So it's going to be a crossfade. As that jet sound fades down, that second music should fade up at the same time. So I'm going to bring this music down to track 4. And I'm going to drag it over here. And I'm going to bring this music down. Select some keyframes. I'm gonna bring it up. Have the music come up and then fade down. So you can see the keyframes can be a little tricky. But let's just give it a rough patch listen here. Okay, as that music's fading down, that jet's fading down. Let's see what we can do here. So now I'm gonna try to fade it down here. Bring this one down a little bit. Move that keyframe over. Let the music build up as the jet is fading down. I can even bring the music over a little more. Bring that music down just a little bit. Now let's listen. Probably could have the music come up. Let's see. Probably bring the keyframe and the music piece over just a little more. And so now, bring that music up, these keyframes. Music fades back down, and then track number 5 for the second part of project 4. Wanted to start at the fade down. So as it's fading down, Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going there every business day, throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly. So you remember, you're gonna That music bed is going to be underneath your voice, so you're going to have to bring it down just a tad. So what I'll do is go back to the last keyframe in the beginning and drop that music down so it's underneath my voice. And so as I'm address, Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going through the script throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly. You can see the end of the music here. So dead silence. And remember, your project has to be a minute. So I'm going to just bring this in a little bit. Drag this over. And so now I can just do the fade again. So it's going to come up. So now I have all my keyframes where I want them. Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going there every business day throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly. So after I say we want everyone to fly, I'll be able to bring that music back up so I can end the music bed properly with the proper music curtain. Probably take away a few more seconds off this music bed, which is perfectly fine. Simply drag it over again, just so I make sure I have a perfect minute, and work the fade one more time. And so I'll let that music build up again. All right, I'll have all my keyframes in now again. No, sometimes it can take a little while, but that's perfectly okay. Have that music be at the foreground, then you'll bring it on down. Let's hear it. Houston, an Eastern address. Delete a few keyframes here just to make it a little better. I know this is taking a long time, but that's okay. Eastern Airlines. That's right. Start it over. I'll probably move this over just a tad. Bring each of these over just to have the perfect fade. Delete a few, and I'll drag this one over. All right, let's listen again.
Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets. People want to get to Houston.
Delete that keyframe.
Houston, we like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly.
And so now I've said we want everyone to fly, right? Go back to this one. I'll zoom out. There's a keyframe right here. I'll delete that one. Zoom back in. As you can see right there, we're about at a minute. Let's see.
We want everyone to fly.
So now I can select the keyframe again. Bring that music right back on up.
To fly.
Oh, make sure you have your clips in order. I'm going to fade this out a little bit, but still have it at the foreground. It's got to be at a minute. Oh. Add some keyframes.
Want everyone to fly.
So now I have a minute. And that is essentially project 4. And to save all this and mix it down, you simply go to File, Export, Multi-Track, Entire Session. Now, browse, save it on your flash drive. Now it's in MP3 format for you. Simply go to Save. Now practice project 4, mix down. I'll change the name so you know the name of your projects as well. Badge 1ZQ, your global ID. Project 4. .mp3 format. And now go to the file list here. And this is project 4.
For sheer brass, nothing can touch it. Houston, the big rich, brass, confident, a brawler that just opened the finest opera house in the Southwest.
As you can see, my levels are around -12.
World's fashion centers and is Houston. It's hard cash, enchiladas in the Mexican Quarter. It's fast quip, a millionaire who rode before he could walk. The NASA Space Center. If ever there was a frontier, Houston is it. If ever there was a cosmopolitan city, call it Houston. But mostly, call it guts. Houston, an Eastern address. Eastern Airlines has 3 nonstop jets going there every business day, throughout the business day. A lot of people want to get to Houston. We like to make it easier for every one of them. We want everyone to fly.
And there you have it. So I hope that this does help you with Project 4. And we're going to talk a little bit more about Project 4 this week as well. And feel free to come to my office hours this week, and I'll sit down with you and walk you through Project 4 also.